My parents wrongfully accused my brother of something horrible, now he's broken, and I'm trying to help him heal while confronting my own mistakes. My brother is 15, my sister is 17, and I'm 23 female. This is really stupid, and it shouldn't have happened, but it did. Now, I just want advice on how to make it better. Also, this is the story my brother told me when I wasn't there. He was in his room, playing on his phone, minding his own business. He got up to take out the trash. He came back to lay down on his bed. As he was lying down, he noticed their dog walking out of his room. He ignored it. Later on, his sister, 17, noticed clothes were missing. She went looking for it and found it in my brother's room. The problem was that it was wet and slimy. She immediately told our parents, and they thought the worst. My dad, mom, and brother argued about it. Rude things were said. Apparently, mom said, "I knew you were weird, but not this weird." My dad said, "I raised a predator." In the end, my parents asked me to pick him up and let him stay with me for a couple of days. When I picked him up, he didn't say anything and just sat in silence. He spent the entire time in the room he was staying in. He only came out for dinner. He skipped breakfast and lunch. His eyes were always red when he came out, so I assume he was crying. I've never seen him cry. Most of the time, when he's upset, he just has a stone face, so what they said must have got to him. Finally, at the end of the week, his parents called me and said they wanted to talk to him. So, they came over. Before they came over, I tried to talk to him, but he ignored me. When his parents came, they apologized to him. Over the week, they noticed more of my sister's clothes in his room, until one day, my dad caught the dog with my sister's clothes. My brother just said, "Okay," and went home. I tried to ask my parents if he could stay longer, but they said that wouldn't be necessary. Later on, I got a call asking me what he did over my house, because he's just been in his room all day at their house. Is there anything I can do to help him feel better? Advice would be greatly appreciated. Update added in the original post, good news. He can stay with me until Sunday. I had to lie a little to my parents to get him to come. I told them he should get out of the house, because he spends most of his day sitting in one spot with online school. They didn't believe me at first, but I said it would be a chance to get him out of his room. They finally agreed. He was about to go to sleep, so I came just in time. I think the plan right now is to just spend time with him this week. I'm broke, so it's going to be mostly home stuff. I tried to talk to him on the car ride. I asked him if he'd be okay. He said he's fine, and we had a little conversation about his school, so at least he's talking now. He's in the spare room, so everything is okay right now. Final update, so I've been asked to update the situation. Many of you guys asked that I let my brother live with me, but I had to take him back to our parents' house this morning. The last update I gave was when my brother was allowed to spend the week at my house. That was last Sunday. We spent the first day Monday at my house just talking. He spent most of the time in the room. At first, he wasn't responding back. It was going nowhere quickly, so I ended the conversation by telling him that our parents were wrong and that he was not weird. I didn't say it exactly like this, but I hope you get the point. He just had a stone face and we stopped talking. Tuesday, he still didn't really come out of the room. I offered to go to McDonald's, and he came out of the room to eat at the table. We just talked about random different things. He wasn't really interested in the conversation until we started talking about my Xbox. We eventually started talking about Madden. He started talking about how good he was at the game. We finished eating, and he went back to his room. On Wednesdays, I bought Madden. I don't play sports games, I play games like Cuphead or cartoon animated games. I asked if he wanted to play, and he agreed. I know this is serious, but Madden absolutely stinks. The game started cheating as soon as we started. The first thing my player did was fumble the ball. He was killing me at it. He actually laughed a couple of times, and he seemed to be enjoying himself. We spent a good portion of the day just playing. Thursday was pretty much the same as Wednesday, but he was talking more. I was going to go to the movies, but COVID is still a thing. We eventually just settled on watching Netflix. He spent half the day in his room, but he's coming out more. On Friday, I decided to try to talk to him about the situation again. I pretty much told him I would talk to our parents to get them to understand why he was hurt by it. I also took the advice of seeing if he wanted to talk to a professional. He asked me not to ask them about it. He said it was just better if nobody brought it up again. I was a little shocked, but there's not much I can do. We then decided to go to a walking trail. At first, he didn't want to go, but I convinced him to come. We just spent more time talking. This also made me realize that I should talk to my siblings more often. He seemed happier. Saturday, or yesterday, was pretty much us just talking again. We decided instead of Madden to just play random games I had. I don't have a lot, but I think he had a good time. When it was dinner time, he got kind of quiet again. I asked him what was wrong. He said he wasn't ready to go back home yet. I didn't know what to say. I asked him if he wanted me to talk to our parents to see what we could do. He just said no again. I pretty much told him he could come to my house anytime he wanted to. That leads us to today. He is back at his house. I was going to talk to our parents, but I assumed he had a reason for not wanting me to talk to them. I know you guys said something about getting him a therapist, but he said no to the idea. I did call my sister to see how she's doing. She said she tried to apologize to her brother, but he ignored her. I don't know what's happening with that, but one thing at a time, and that's pretty much how the week went. Overall, he seemed much happier than he was last week. I texted him and he wants to come back sometime next week. This part has nothing to do with my brother, but it's about me, you don't have to read it. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm only 23 and still trying to get my life together. I'm a firefighter, so I'm just glad that we get a lot of vacation time or else I would have had to work. I know people are thinking that if you are a firefighter, you should know what to do. Why did you ask what the signs of depression are? I was never trained on how to deal with someone actively showing signs of depression. I was trained to help somebody who was in the process of trying to commit self-harm, and that training wasn't that good. It was basically to try to talk them down and do whatever you can to get them to a hospital. I've yet to use this training. This is why I was panicking when everything was happening. People were telling me he could commit self-harm. I know I should have kept a cool head, but it just felt different because it was family. They tell you not to panic, but I'm only human. I've been a firefighter for about 2 years now. Anyway, something else I wanted to say. I was going to try to be there for both my brother and sister, but I made mistakes. Somebody brought up the point that when I found out what happened, what was my reaction? I'm ashamed to admit it, but I didn't have one. I thought he was going to get over it and everything would be alright. I only started caring when I realized that he wasn't acting like his normal self. That was when I realized the impact of what they said and how messed up this all really is. So, to the person who brought up this point, thank you. This showed me that no matter how great my actions are in front of random strangers, the truth is that I have a similar mindset as my parents. I don't think he's weird, but I guess my time spent around them made me desensitized to the things they say. I don't know. I'm going to work to change that because it's not right. So, to everybody, thank you for the advice you've given. I see the mistake I've made, and I'm 100% behind changing myself and being behind my brother.